He speaks for the trees! I've been all excited about reading the Lorax all day today. I've been running around yelling at my kids, he speaks for the trees! Guys, did you know? Did you know about the Lorax? He speaks for the trees! I don't know why I was yelling that at my kids all day, but I definitely was yelling that at my kids all day. So fun, right? It's the Lorax by Dr. Seuss. This is a good one. I enjoy this one. So we're going to read together now. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows and no birds ever sing excepting old crows is the street of the lifted Lorax. Show pictures. See that sign? It says the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there, and why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. This is where the Lorax stood. And I'm imagining this is where the Onceler lives. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkin cold under the roof where he makes his own clothes out of miff-muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out the shutters and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. I don't know how he'd verify that the snail was a great-great-great-grandfather. Maybe it was just an old great-great-grandfather. You don't know. You don't know. Then he pulls up the pail and makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snurve, in his secret strange hole, in his gruvulous glove. Oh, away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his gruvulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper, my phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. See, this is when he's counting, and then the snub in his gruvulous glove. Sloop! Down slips the whisper-mophone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swami swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored ruffs of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. That doesn't look anything like the place the Onceler's at now. It's beautiful, and it's got all these multicolored trees. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. See the barbaloots and the humming fish? Everybody's so happy. But those trees, those truffula trees! All my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. This is the Onceler's wagon. He's throwing stuff out the back. Oh no! In no time at all I had built a small shop, and then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. and with great skillful skill, and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft, and I knitted a thneed. A thneed? What's a thneed? It looks like a garment of some sort, but I've never worn a thneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him, that's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish, and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a sawdusty sneeze, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. "What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft?" It's a thneed, I believe, but I don't know what a thneed be. "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. The thing is a sneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool's thneed." "Fool thneed," he said. I don't know. But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy." Look at this guy. He looks like he's... I bought a thneed, but he has no idea what a thneed does. He's kind of got it draped over his head, but blocking his eyes. I don't know. It seems like a bad idea. "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone, and I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch, turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch." He's calling up his family. Gonna make a bunch of thneeds. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Moving to the country, gonna make me a bunch of thneeds. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now, chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. This seems bad, cutting down all the truffula trees. Moving to the country, gonna cut down a bunch of truffulas. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I am the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round, and my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies." Oh, I hate it when I have gas but no food in my tummies. I've been there, man. I've been there. "They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm. I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads of the thneeds I shipped out. I was shipping them forth, to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north.
I went right on biggering, selling more needs, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax, he coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a crofulous croak, Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can't sing a note, and no one can sing who has smog in his throat.
His Lorax seems unhappy. But the Onceler has to make needs. It's for the economy, people. And everyone knows it's all about the economy and whatever makes the economy better, right?
And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax. His dander was up. Let me say a few words about gloppity-glop. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gloppity-glop and also sloppity-slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you.
Gloppity-glop and sloppity-slop. It seems like bad stuff.
You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk in their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary.
The fish are having to walk away from the pond on their fins. I don't know if you know much about fish, but this normally does not end well when they are out of the water for an extended period of time. Them's a bunch of dead fish.
Which is like instant.
Right, they're gonna die.
And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, bad, bad. Well, I've had my rights, sir, so I'm telling you. I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering. Turning more truffula trees into needs, which everyone needs. And at that very moment we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall. The very last truffula tree of them all.
Uh-oh. How you gonna build more trees with no more trees?
No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time my uncles and aunts, every one, all waved me goodbye and jumped into my cars and drove away under smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I.
It's starting to look in this picture more like it did at the beginning of the book, huh? No more beautiful trees, just gray everywhere. It's a shame, really.
The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance. Just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took out of the place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace.
I like the picture of the Lorax hoisting himself up by his own pants. That is, he's not even wearing pants. It's just fur. He just grabbed his butt and lifted. I'm not sure how that works, but I'm quite happy for him. Look at this. He just grabs his butt and lifts. Next thing you know, he's flying through the air. I'm not sure how Lorax biology works, but I'm impressed.
And all that Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word: unless. Whatever that means, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years when my buildings have fallen apart, and worried about it with all of my heart.
Unless. Unless what, you may ask?
But now, said the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, there's nothing going to get better. It's not.
Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing will get better. It simply will not.
So catch, calls the Onceler.
He let something fall.
It's a truffula seed, the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water and feed it fresh air, grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack, then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back.
He threw down the seed, the last truffula seed.
I see.
Wow, I gotta show the kids. They're asking to see it.
Wait. Wow.
Oh, and that is the end of the story. Of the Lorax. He speaks for the trees. I don't know, it's a beautiful story. It's a little depressing. This book was originally written in 1971. This book was written 40 years ago. 50 years ago. 50 years ago for the Lorax. I'm not sure we've learned anything. It's a little bit of a depressing end to the story of the Lorax, which is a beautiful book that I really, really love.
And now he can't yell. He speaks to the trees.
And it is very upsetting that I can't scream, "He speaks for the trees," all day tomorrow. Because tomorrow I'm not reading the Lorax. Tomorrow I will be reading I Can Read With My Eyes Shut, which I may try to read without opening my eyes. We'll see. It will probably end very poorly if I do. We're going to record that one early because tomorrow night I will be at a church thing. But we will post it around 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Right here. Good night, everyone.